I became a self-made millionaire at 19 years old, and if it wasn't for these three essential things, I never would have gotten there. Guys, like I said, I went from zero to a millionaire in under 2 years, going from my mom's basement to now living my dream life out here in Miami, and the whole point of my channel is to simply educate you guys on every single thing I've learned in that journey. Now, I've broken down every single thing I've learned across that 2-year journey into the three most important things, the most important traits that I have developed as a man to get to the success I've gotten to. Usually I don't script my videos, guys, but I got my notepad right here with a few notes because this is an extremely important video, and I promise if you take the things I teach you in this video and immediately put it into action, you will start to see an uptick in your life. You will start to see more results. You will start to get richer. You will start to live a better life, but only if you implement these three things properly. Now, number one is speed. Speed is the most important thing, not only in business, but in life. You might hear speed and you probably think of a race car. You probably think of getting something done quick. You probably think of busy work. You probably think of being super hectic, but that is not what speed is. Speed is action. Speed is making things happen as quickly as possible. The quicker you can get an idea from your mind into reality, into motion, into a business, into just on the paper so it becomes reality, and then into business, whatever you're going to do, the quicker you can put an idea in your mind into the real reality of this world, the quicker you are going to be successful. The quicker you get things done, the more successful you're going to be. The quicker you do everything, it is going to directly impact how successful you are. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make, entrepreneurs make, is that they are simply too slow. It doesn't matter if you're getting a business task done. It doesn't matter if you're calling somebody back. Everything needs to happen fast, because the faster you get things done, the more things you can get done into a day, and that will compound your life into success. You compound that over a week, you've got more done than other people. You compound that into months, years, decades. You are going to destroy your competition simply by getting things done faster. You need to develop a sense of urgency. If you guys have ever watched Brian Tracy, one of the best philosophers in our time, he talks about every single thing you need to become the pinnacle version of yourself, the best version of yourself. But because we're talking about speed, I'm simply going to talk about what he said about time management. He saw that the top performers that he knew, he's met a ton of top performers, guys. He's talked to a bunch of people. He literally only talks to other people in the business niche because that's what he does. All the top performers he knows, they have an extreme sense of urgency, because people seem to get into this warp in their minds where they think we have much more time than we really do. I'm 20 years old and I feel old. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know I'm not old, but I felt like I was 16 just like that. This time goes quick, guys, and especially if you're in your 20s, this is the most valuable time in your life because you are at the peak of your powers. You are at the peak of your masculinity. Health-wise, you are at the peak of your energy. You are at the peak of everything. So if you are wasting this time, you're going to be in your 30s before you know it, then your 40s, then your 50s, and then you're going to get through this peak time of when you had the most energy in your life and have nothing to show for it. So develop a sense of urgency, start doing everything fast, and start taking action with speed. That is number one. Number two is self-discipline. This is an easy one. Self-discipline is the lifeblood of all success. If you do not have this, you do not have anything. Self-discipline is what's going to get you out of the bed in the morning. Self-discipline is what is going to overcome you from procrastination. Self-discipline is how you achieve every single thing you want to achieve in this life. We talk about speed. If you're doing a lot of things every day, you're getting them done quick, you're going to experience some burnout, at least in your mind. Your mind is going to start telling you, oh, we should rest, we should do this. If you don't have self-discipline to overcome your negative self-talk, to overcome that little bitchy voice in your head, you are never going to be successful. You need to have a list of tasks every single day and tell yourself you are not going to sleep until these things are done. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter if something else comes up. Nothing matters except for these tasks. And once you finish those, you can go do whatever. You need to have enough self-discipline to get the important things done every single day without letting fun tempt you, without letting girls tempt you, without letting social media tempt you. Because if you don't, you are never going to be successful, and you're simply going to be outcompeted by people who do have self-discipline. I work out every day, usually twice a day. And And I haven't wanted to do that in months. Maybe you get a wave of motivation at 3 a.m. sometimes. Maybe you see a TikTok that gets you going, whatever. But 95% of the time, you are not going to be motivated to do something. You're going to have to rely on your discipline. And when you do that and start getting results, discipline will become much easier. Discipline will become easier because you'll have results that you have gotten from your discipline before. The hardest part about doing anything is getting over that first initial hump. And that is going to lead us into my third point. Third, something that you need to develop if you want to be successful is delusional self-belief. Now, delusional self-belief doesn't mean arrogant. Delusional self-belief doesn't mean cocky. Delusional self-belief simply means that you believe in yourself when no one else believes in you. The reason this is so important, like I was just mentioning, is because the hardest part in succeeding in anything is getting over that first initial hump, is starting the journey, is just doing the little bit of work to get over the first mountain of bullshit that you can actually get some momentum. And if you don't have delusional self-belief, you're never going to talk yourself into doing something because nobody else believes in you at the start. It is only you. I'm going to tell you guys a super quick story about how I started. I was in my mom's basement, like I mentioned at the start of this video, and I used to have horrible arguments with my parents because I was a senior in high school. That summer, I was supposed to be going to college, and all I did was argue with them, telling them I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to live the life of my dreams, but I had nothing to show for it. So my parents, even though it was coming from a good place, even though they obviously had good intentions, they want me to be successful, they had no proof. They didn't believe in me because they had never seen me do anything significant with my life. I was a loser. I was a normal high school kid who came home, scrolled TikTok, and did some sports betting every night. I did nothing significant with my life. I was lazy. So of course, they did not believe in me. I was the only one who believed in me. And if I never did, I simply wouldn't have even started my business, let alone get to where I am today in Miami living my dream life. All I had was myself and my own delusional self-belief. The reason I add the word delusional is because delusional self-belief means there's nothing to back it up. Obviously, you're going to have self-belief once you're successful. You've done something before. But if you're first starting, it has to be delusional because the only thing backing your whole dream, this whole life you're trying to go after, is you believing you can do it in your mind, even though it has no backing from anything in actual reality. You've never done something like this before. You've never accomplished the life of your dreams before, or you wouldn't be watching this video. So you need to have delusional self-confidence to push yourself over the edge of starting. And this is going to serve you all the time, guys. One of the things I tell people when I'm coaching them in my program is that you need to develop an ego. You need to develop a massive ego. You don't need to flaunt it to everybody else. You don't need to be arrogant. You don't need to be cocky, but you need to have an ego so big that you will work to live up to it. Once you have that ego, you will work to prove it. You need to think you're the shit. You need to think you're the best. You need to think you deserve to be rich. You need to think that you are the king of your fucking castle, because in reality, you are. You are the star of your own movie. And if you start thinking like that, you are going to have an ego up here. You're going to be down here, and you're going to start to work to get to that ego until it becomes a reality. Because if you don't, you're a liar, and you're going to look like an idiot, not only to yourself, but to the other people you told about your goals. So you need to develop an ego. You need to have delusional self-belief, and this is going to make you much more successful than if you didn't have this strong mindset where you believed in yourself to an absolutely ridiculous extent, because that's the only way to get to ridiculous extents in life. And in today's day and age, being extremely successful is ridiculous. It's not normal. 99% of the population is normal. 99% of the population isn't a 1%er. That's why it's called being a 1%er. You need to do things differently. You need to be delusional when most people aren't. That's the only way to get to the cream of the crop, to get to the 1%. So to recap this video, number one is speed. You need to get things done faster. You need to take more action, and you need to move through your life with a sense of urgency. If you do this, it will compound into success. It will compound into outworking your competition because you get things done quicker, and it will always serve you to do things faster. And number two was self-discipline. This is key. This is the lifeblood to all success. You need to develop a stronger mental frame. If you don't have a strong mental frame, I highly recommend the gym. If you build a strong body, you will build a strong mind. The only way you build a strong body is by having a strong mind, because that's what's going to get you into the gym every day. That is discipline. If you practice discipline every day, if you push past your limits, if you do things you don't want to do, this is going to literally build your muscle of discipline, and it is going to serve you in all endeavors of life. So work on your self-discipline. Don't focus focus on having the craziest day of all time tomorrow, waking up at 5 a.m., getting a million tasks done. Don't worry about that right now. You're just starting. Focus on getting one thing more done than you did the last day, and then do that every single day until you have a very disciplined routine, until you have a very eventful routine every single day where you get a lot more done than you were doing before. Take things in baby steps, develop your self-discipline, and eventually, compared to the normal person, you will be a disciplined machine, but to you, it will seem normal because you've been building up these tasks for the last few weeks, few months, few years, whatever. Focus on your self-discipline. This is key if you want to be successful. And then number 3 was delusional self-belief. The raw reality of this world is nobody gives a shit about you, especially if you're a man. Nobody's going to believe in you if you've never done anything before, and the only way to actually do something is to get from doing nothing to doing something. So to get over that hump, to get over that horrible hump at the start, I don't want to call it horrible because there's a beauty to it. There's a beauty to nobody believing you and just you believing in you. There's this weird Batman sort of feeling, if that makes sense, of isolation that really just gives you another source of energy when nobody believes in you. But I don't want to call it horrible. I'll call it difficult. I'll call it hard. To get over that initial hump, like I said, you need to have delusional self-belief. Only you are going to believe in you. Only you are going to get yourself into a better situation than you are now. Nobody else is. So your mind needs to be on your own team. If you don't have self-belief, you are never going to achieve anything. How would you achieve something if your own mind isn't even on your own team? You need to have a delusional self-belief. You need to inflate your ego. You're going to be down here compared to your ego, and you need to work to make reality match your ego. That's what I did, and that's how I achieved my dream life. I knew I was going to have this dream life. I knew I was worthy of more. I knew I was going to be successful. And once I started working and acting on that frequency of my ego, like I already was successful, guess what? Reality caught up, and I actually became successful. So those are the 3 most important tenets, 3 most important traits, 3 most important things I've learned, whatever you want to call it, on my journey of going from 0 to a millionaire in less than 2 years at 19 years old, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. My name is Nathan. I post daily content on here talking about business, talking about all the things I've learned along that 2-year journey, and I hope you guys found this video informative. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.